So good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for your patience. We have a number of reps joining us now, and we do have officially our 14th. We do have quorum, so we will get started this evening. I am calling this evening's meeting to order at 6:17 p.m. Now, before we get going this evening, I would like to acknowledge that the land on which we gather is the traditional and unceded territory of the Iroquois Mi'kmaq First Nations peoples, and as a community, we recognize the ever-present systemic inequities that stem directly from past wrongdoings, and we commit ourselves indefinitely to respecting and reconciling this long history of injustice. So now we'll get on to our agenda for this evening. Let me go ahead and share that with folks. This is the agenda for this evening. And the first item on the agenda is approval of the agenda. Can I get a motion for approval of the agenda for this evening, please? I see Adam.
Thank you, Chair. Excuse me, I move that the agenda for today's meeting be approved.
Thank you very much for your motion, Adam. Can I get a seconder for that motion, please? Seconded by Tasneef. Adam, would you like to speak to that motion?
No, thank you, Chair.
Would anyone like to speak to that motion? So make any amendments or changes to tonight's agenda.
Hey everybody, hey Ashley, this is Jose. I'm speaking from Alex computer because my computer still doesn't work. So I want to add something to the agenda, which would be the review of the event calendar for winter 2021, if that's okay.
Sure, do you want to phrase that as a motion, please?
Yep, I would like to make a motion to add an item to the agenda, and it would be review of winter 2021 calendar. I'm not sure where in the agenda that would be the best spot to put it, to be honest.
How does right after the letter writing campaign sound?
Yep, then I would like to make it item number 6.
Great, thank you for your amendment. Can I get a seconder for that amendment, please? Seconded by Malik. Jose, would you like to speak to your amendment?
Yep, I'm excited for all of us to review the calendar, and I hope all of you are excited for it. Yay!
Great, thank you, Jose. Would anyone else like to speak to the amendment? Seeing no one, we will move to a vote using the polling function. All in favor of approval of the amendment? All opposed, and those who wish to abstain. That motion has carried. So I'll make that adjustment to the agenda. Perfect. Is there anyone else who would like to speak to the agenda for this evening? Any additional amendments? Seeing no one, we will move to a vote, once again using the polling function. All in favor of approval of tonight's agenda as presented? That has again carried. So we are now on to the next item on the agenda, which is approval of the minutes from the December 6th, 2020 meeting. Can I get a mover for approval of the minutes? I see the first year rep, Adam.
Thank you, Chair. I move that the minutes from the December 6th, 2020 meeting be approved.
Thank you for your motion. Can I get a seconder for that motion, please? Seconded by Jessica Perry. Adam, would you like to speak to that motion?
No, thank you, Chair.
Would anyone else like to speak to that motion? So are there any edits necessary in the minutes? Again, seeing no one, we will move to a vote. using the polling function. If you were not present for the December 6th meeting, please indicate that you wish to abstain and comment your name in the chat box so that our deputy chair can record that for the minutes. That motion has carried. If there are any abstentions that would like to be noted, please denote that in the chat function now. We'll now move to the next item on the agenda for this evening, which is reports. And we will start with the president's report. Let me go ahead and give you screen sharing capabilities. And we will get on with that.
Thank you very much, Chair. Hello, everyone, and welcome to a new semester year. Before I go into my report, I would like to say Happy New Year and welcome to a new semester year. I hope you all had a wonderful winter semester break. I'm looking forward to this semester with everyone and having a great semester. So I'll move on to my report now, and I'll just share my screen. Yes. So after the last council meeting, that was on December 5th. So from December 6th to January 8th of 2021, here is a couple of things I did. And we took the Christmas break also. So my report is divided into external, internal, and general. So on external affairs, I had a CASA liaison call with the Director at Large for staff membership, and we spoke about mental health support from CASA. CASA is providing mental health support to student leaders across Canada to help with student leaders' mental health this year, last year and this semester year. It's been a challenging year in 2020, and they saw a lot of resignation, and I know most of you are familiar with that. So they are providing mental health resources to student leaders out there should they need any help. I also had an introduction. We also discussed introduction into CASA's agenda. So briefly of there's going to be a campaign this semester year of hashtag get out the vote. Please reach out, please look out for that coming soon. It's going to be a virtual campaign. I also had an interview, a pre-interview with CBC News come the 7th of December 2020. It was when school went back online and everything closed down during the circuit breaker. And CBC reached out for an interview on the SU stance and how students would be affected by going back in. The next day, which was around 7:40 in the morning, I had a live interview with CBC Island Morning. So I spoke about the same thing on SU stance on students going back online. Then I had a meeting with BIPOC Portia, that is Black, Indigenous, People of Color, and I can't remember what USHR means, but I had a meeting with them and we were speaking about students' short and long-term concerns and how they can help students based off of retention and probably international fees. It was a long and interesting call because they were looking at how to move forward with students, not just within the school, but even provincial-wide aspect. Then I moved into the internal aspect of the school, of the university. I had a meeting with President Ala and the other VPs. That is the Vice President, Finance and Administration, the Chief Information Officer, and the Vice President of Academic and Research. We discussed the winter semester fees. So the optional fee still remains this year. So I know most of you that are not in PEI, you probably might have applied for a fitness opt-out fee that is still open this semester. The health and dental fee, if you already opted out from that in the fall, you don't need to opt out from that again. And yes, I think that's all the fees that were pretty much optional. Then we spoke about adversity award and how the school can continually help students. So far, they are still trying to pitch to the government for more money this semester. Fingers crossed that that goes through. And just like Tasnif brought up last council meeting, that a couple of international students haven't paid their fall semester fee and we should ask for an extended grace. I was able to get something for till the 6th of January 2021, and that has passed now. That was like 4 days ago. Students were able to have that grace. And if Tasnif, if any student also, or anyone knows any students, the Vice President, Finance and Administration said there is a department in school that you get to plan how you can pay your fees throughout the year. So if you meet with the Department of Student Services, I'm pretty sure it's in the Kelly building, that was what she told me. The students can sit with an advisor and they plan out how they can pay their fees throughout the semester year, probably like pay their fees instrumentally and all that kind of stuff. So they should definitely reach out if they need that kind of help. It's available to students. The school is really open to enhancing students' education, even in these trying times and unprecedented year. Then we spoke about technology improvement and how the school is looking to improve the Wi-Fi around campus. From what I was able to get, they are starting with AVC, as a new MRI is going to be fixed soon, right there. And then I had a meeting with the Board of Governors rep also before our Board of Governors meeting. We did introduction and we looked over the agenda of the board meeting. I also had a meeting with the Mental Health and Wellness Officer on the 8th of December 2020. We discussed various mental health resources we can create awareness on during the circuit breaker. We're telling students that this is available to you. And I would like to tell you all that the Mental Health and Wellness Officer, we've created a new social media account on Instagram for mental health only, based off of the UPISU. Please do follow that page because we are going to be giving tips and workshops on mental health resources and mental health tips right there. So we spoke basically on mental health initiative for this winter semester and exam period. So during the Board of Governors meeting, I presented on the UPISU's activity for the month of November. I would say more during the Board of Governors, time for the Board of Governors report. So I met with the arts rep and the Board of Governors rep also again. Before I became president, the arts rep raised an issue that went over to NIFT concerning international student fee during a co-op work term, during a full-time co-op work term. And I had a meeting to hear out her grievances and concerns. And we are going to be looking at it this winter semester. So after the winter break, I met specifically with each of my exec team members, and we were planning for the winter semester. A couple of things are packed out for all students this semester. It will be lovely to see you all come for our workshops and events this year because we've planned a lot for you guys and other students outside this council. And then we wrapped up fall semester, whatever was really left. Then I had a meeting also with the Mental Health and Wellness Officer planning for this winter semester. We also planned for Black History Month, which is going to be in February. And like I said, we started up a social media account specifically for mental health. I would put it in the chat box, but it's upisu.mentalhealth.mh on Instagram. Then the International Student Orientation, which was on the 8th of December, we did an introduction and we all presented our mandate and achievements for the fall semester. Some other things that I generally did during the period was I had a meeting with the registrar office. It was about mainly about Nigerian students and the recession happening back home and how they can help out with the payments fee, the method of payment I also advocated, yes, we advocated for a COVID pop-up clinic in UPI campus, which happened in the gym. I got the opportunity to volunteer at the clinic, and it was really organized by the Health and Wellness Center. We were able to welcome 400 plus students and individuals into the gym to test for COVID. And a couple of things for students that were in quarantine from December 28th, I believe. We did a treat bag with a 5-minute update from the UPI SU in it, and we sent them off to students in quarantine. And yes, thank you very much, everyone. Does anyone have any question?
Thank you very much for your report. Are there any questions for the president at this time? Seeing none, we will move on. Again, thank you very much for your report. The next item on the agenda for this evening is the Vice President, Academic and External. So I will open the floor to you, Malik.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm actually really excited to be back. Yeah, I'm just excited to be back, so I want to share that. And I'm going to share my screen with you folks to show my report. And I hope everyone had a great holiday season and rested, and that you're excited for this next semester. I also have to say that the few extra days of the winter break helped me a lot personally. So I'm happy that we could do that for you folks, and I hope that those extra days also helped you guys. So here's what I did over the, oh, this is not my report. It actually is, I just have my dates wrong here. Yeah, let's get started. I'm just gonna fix this. Okay, so over the break, and since our last meeting, we've had a AXCOM meeting, so that's the committee I chair on council, and we discussed something. We discussed a campaign that we wanna do this semester, and I'm gonna discuss this later. I have it as an agenda item, and I just put the stuff that I did in there for that campaign. So far, we have been very busy on the student grievances side of things. We've had a total of 6 students reach out with the appeals and or issues with their professors. And I worked with or supervised the academic coordinator with some of these cases, depending on the severity of the case. And then we also did something that I'm very proud of, which is we published the student appeal guidebook. It's online now, and it's available to anyone through our UPISU link. And I put the link in here for you folks to access as well. So if you go onto the website right now, we have a guidebook that can help any student through an appeal. So they can come to us for help with appeals, or they can also use the guidebook for any questions that they might have about student appeals in general, covering academics and also covering other issues that students might want to appeal. It's a great resource. It was created by our former VPACs, Sweta Dabu, but then we updated it and sent it off for editing and publishing and all that kind of stuff. And it's done. Had a library council meeting. The highlights from those meetings are the library's looking at extending all loan periods of everything for up to 28 days, which is incredible. And they're also looking to eliminate fines on a lot of their the things that they lend out, except for I think the special collections. But yeah, they're looking at eliminating fines to make everything more accessible for our students, which is amazing. They also launched a project with our mental health and wellness officer, Callie Ross. It's SED lights, so they're for seasonal affective disorder. It's basically for folks who get a little bit more depressed in the winter time and they need some sunlight. These are these lamps that like imitate sunlight that you can borrow from the library that our mental health and wellness officer actually worked on. So that's amazing. And then externally, I did a lot of stuff with CASA. So we had our liaison calls, had a CASA board meetings. We were kind of ending off the last semester and prepping for this next one. We discussed the National Advocacy Committee campaign, which Tulu mentioned. So look out for that. And then I have also been prepping for my committee that I run with CASA, which is the Federal Policy Committee. PR advocacy over the break, this break also had the circuit breaker in it, and that meant that we, had to reach out and do some advocacy on behalf of our students. So I had a call with Minister Trivers, Minister of Education and Lifelong Learning, and I asked the minister for a few things, to contribute to the UPISU Emergency Fund, which we also did over this break. We gave out some money from that, but I'm sure Aimken will talk about that. And asked about, again, support for the Access to Technology project, which I have great news about. So we got 6 desktop computers from our connection with the minister, who connected us to a community organization who gave us 6 desktop computers. We also got 6 laptops from the library, and we also got 10 laptops from a connection we had with the mayor. So we have in total 22 free devices that we've been giving out to students permanently, and we have a Google form out, and we already gave out 11 of those devices. So that's amazing. And also something that we've talked about before is feminine hygiene products, free feminine hygiene products for students. I connected with the minister about that, and he connected me with the Interministerial Women's Secretariat for the feminine hygiene products. And we've been in contact with her back and forth, and she will be hopefully contacting me within the next few weeks to get some free products on campus. I think they're around the $1,000 mark worth of products, but it's really exciting. So right now, what am I doing for advocacy? I'm working on pre-budget consultation submission. So right now, the PEI government is doing its pre-budget consultations for the budget that's going to be coming out next year. And we have 2 asks on there that hopefully we will be presenting on Tuesday and having more meetings about. Right now, the 2 topics are expanding the moratorium on provincial student loans, so how much that's going to cost for the government, and also multi-year open education resource fund, which the former president and VPAC started last year. We got $25,000 worth of funds for the OER program run by the Robertson Library here on campus, and we're looking at having a multi-year, more stable fund for that. I met with the mayor to pick up the laptops, and we did that over the winter break. And I also sat with the meeting with the other execs, with BIPOC Usher, and we talked about how we can long-term support international students. Other things, we gave out presents with Jose to students during the Christmas time. We also, I brought it up to Tulu because one student contacted me and was like, we need a clinic on campus for folks who don't have cars. So I brought that up to Tulu, and Tulu was able to bring that up to the administration. So we had the on-campus clinic, and that helped a lot of students. I sent up follow-up on the building hours question that I was asked by our computer science rep and our business rep, Ikini. They haven't gotten back to me, but I have been bugging them about it still. So I'll give you more information when they get back to me. And yeah, we gave out 11 free computers to students over the break. And then this last week, we attended the International Student Office orientation for international students coming in the winter. That's my report.
Great, thank you very much for your report. Are there any questions for the VPACs at this time? Seeing none, we will move to the next point on the agenda for this evening, which is the VP Student Life. So Jose, I will open the floor to you.
Oh, hi, everybody. Just a second. I've never used a Mac, so Malik is just helping me out a second here. But I'm definitely getting a new computer for the new semester because I need it for classes and also like for events. It's just taking a little bit longer than I expected, but I should have one soon. Again, thank you for the VPACs for helping me out with this.
Not this one. Sorry, guys. Yeah, it's this one.
Yep.
Okay, there you go.
So can everybody see it, Ashley? Question mark.
Yes, go ahead.
Perfect. So the BPSL during the winter break or during this break, what they do most is kind of prepared the events and everything for next semester based on what they learned from first semester, based on what they saw students enjoy, what they didn't enjoy, what you can improve and stuff like that, because events are always like evolving based on your experience and feedback. So that was most of my work. But to break it down, I sent a survey to our clubs and societies just to see how did they perceive our services, our supports and stuff like that. That way, usually this survey is sent by the BPSL at the end of every academic year. I wanted to change it this time around, so it would be sent once at the end of the fall and then at the end of the year in the winter, just because I feel like it's important to take their feedback from the fall so that you can improve for the winter semester. So far I have, I think it's like 14-ish responses. So hopefully those will increase in the coming days, but I understand not everybody's checking their club's emails yet because we haven't gotten back to school. But I'm excited to see what they see and how I can improve the services we have for them in the winter 2020 first. I sent an email to all of you so we could ratify the Law Society or the Pre-Law Society, which is now ratified. And also the Sociology Anthropology Society finished all their documentation to be re-ratified with us. We assisted the blood donation team with their setup for the next semester's Blood Rush, which is a competition where different groups of campus work together to donate the most amount of blood they can to blood donation centers around town. And then in general, I just kind of answer general questions that clubs had over the break. Another thing is a lot of the dates that we had for clubs orientation, executive training, all of that had to be moved around because of the extra week of break week that we had. So I'm still working around with clubs to see which dates work better for everybody. We wrapped up the UPISU R battle. Money has been transferred to almost all participants. The few that haven't been transferred to is because they feel more comfortable if we were to give them a check once they get to the island, which is hopefully it'll be at the end of winter 2021, sometime in the spring or summer. But I already left notes for our general manager and all of that, so they'll get their money and everything will be fine. And unlike the Master Student Chef competition, there were no real scandals or problems or anything online, so that was great. Me and the other executives pretty much spent December 21st, 22nd, 24th in the office giving the gifts to the students. From the 180 something gifts that we had, around 150-ish we're giving out. And then the remaining 30 are students who were already off island, but they are coming back this semester. And I'm just waiting for them to finish their isolation period so they can come and pick them up. It was great to see a lot of students just being happy and getting that extra support that they need, and a lot of them were really thankful, so it was great to see that. And I hope that future 5 Days of Cheer continue to implement this initiative because I think it's really nice. I met with the SB Pro so to discuss, so usually Consent Week doesn't get as much participation and engagement from students as we'd like. Consent is a really important topic, and it's one that we don't want to take away from campaigns or anything. So something that we had a long discussion about was maybe moving forward this year, we'll try this semester and then future semesters, is incorporating consent team events in Love and Sex Week. Just because, to be honest, you kind of need both, and they kind of go hand in hand, if that makes sense. And hopefully all the engagement that students have with Love and Sex Week will kind of we'll merge with Consent Week events, and that will make everything better, and the students will be engaged and they'll have a lot of information that's important to have a healthy sexual life. And then I just met with the mental health and wellness officer so that we could discuss how mental health related events would work throughout the semester. We're thinking more about scattered events instead of doing like theme weeks. Finally, for others, I helped the president, well, we all helped the president kind of set up some treat bags for students who were in isolation. I had a bunch of meetings with the mission team, which was a team of students and staff that were put together during the break to support students that were in isolation. They basically hosted events for students during this long break, and they also had like a call system to make sure that they were fine every day while they were in isolation. I did not get to work with them as much as I had hoped, just because I decided that I also needed a break, but I tried to support them to the best of my ability while still kind of taking the break that I needed for myself. We had the meeting with BIPOC Usher. And then something that I will elaborate more later on is the Event Planning and Execution Committee, which is an ad hoc committee that will be proposed by the BP Student Life. So maybe I'll have my own committee, and that's really exciting. And some of you might join, and that's great. The video game co-op is pretty much ready and set to go. We have all 3 of our video game consoles. We decided to not purchase more just because we want to see how the uptake is. But the waiver is ready, as well as the form, and you can check them out in those links. And we'll do kind of like social media and stuff right this first 2 weeks of school. We were there for international student orientation. And then the final thing that I did was that the BP Student Life has budget lines for specific groups on campus. I decided that before I ended my term, I wanted to make sure to use those budget lines so they would go to students before I finish my term. So I contact each specific group, so International Students Office, graduate students, and ABC students, and I contacted kind of like the groups, so ISO, the Grad Student Association, and SAFs, just to make sure that the way that I invest this budget line for them is the way that the students want to see that budget line be invested. And then the final thing that I'm thinking about is I also have a budget line for first year students. And the way I want to invest it is kind of like when I was a first year student and I came here in winter, you don't really get a lot of support in terms of like, you don't have an NSO, you have ISO, which is like a 1-day orientation. You don't really get to make as many friendships or connections as students who have NSO in the fall. And it's really hard to like feel like you belong or you have a group on campus. So I wanted to do something kind of like Panther Kits for winter 2021 students, which will be kind of like UPI swag and some UPISU swag that will go out to those first year students who just started out. I'm still figuring out the logistics of what will be included there or how we'll manage to send it out to students who are outside of the island. But it's something that I would really like to send out to those students because I know that starting in winter is really, really, really hard. And that's kind of the calendar of events and things that I have moving forward for this semester, but we'll remove it in the later point in the agenda. Thank you. Does anybody have any questions?
Thanks for your report, Jose. Are there any questions for the VPSL at this time? As Jose eagerly waits for your questions, are there any questions? Seeing none, we will move on. Again, thank you very much for your report, Jose. I'll now open the floor to Yumigan for your report.
Hello, everyone. Happy New Year. This is just my report for the December break up until January 9th or 10th of 2020. So the way I divided this report is into finance, administration, mental health, and miscellaneous. So I'm just going to go over them point by point. So first of all, the UPISU Emergency Fund, all members of the executive reviewed this form twice in December. There were a huge number of people that applied for this fund. It was a total of 173 students after the last review. We have a couple of students that applied afterwards, and I think this was as a result of the circuit breaker. Overall, in the month of December, there were about $7,000 spent. And for future months, lesser amount was allocated because in December, we had a lot of students that applied because of some students lost their job due to the 2 weeks break and all of that. So that's why we had a higher number of students. So I just broke down the projected cost by month, 7,000 in December and up until April. This doesn't mean this would be how it will be followed, but this is just so that we have an idea whenever we're reviewing the form. Also, in terms of clubs and society, clubs accounts set up for the robotics club and society. Also, the food bank and supplies. So during the break, the supplies was open for students to grab stuffs. Also, we had to provide funding to the UPI food bank at the peak of the circuit breaker so that gift cards could be distributed to students. Also, new items like jackets, sweaters were added to the supplies this winter, thanks to the Black Cultural Society and the Startup Zone for their contribution. Also in December, I met with Benny for the funds distribution. So we got $10,000 for students in the BIPOP community. So we'll be distributing that in the winter from January to March. So students have the opportunity to use their voucher at the farmers markets. Currently, we have 45 applications for that fund. So would probably, depending on the number, we'll divide the number by the amount of students that apply. Also, this semester, the Panther Patrol has been used to pick up students who have completed their isolations and need ride back to their residence. So that's what Carl, our Panther Patrol driver, has been doing so far. Also, in terms of the mental health and wellness officer, I met with the mental health officer and to go over how the communications plan would be reviewed. So I, the mental health officer, the president, and our marketing and communication manager would be working on that before the end of the semester. As Tolu has already said, the Instagram account was created for the mental health and wellness officer. Another thing that we talked about was the replacement of classroom visits. So since we can have classroom in-person classes to go give information to students, so the mental health and wellness officer will be reaching out to different faculties to share various mental health resources to students in those faculty. Also, the policy for the new mental health initiative plan, which I will be reviewing later on in the meeting. In terms of other duties, we organized the treat bag with other executive members, also the international student orientations, where we went over our project and services that are offered this year. Also the meeting with our president to go over our winter plans, and also presents give out with Jose. And that is my report.
Great, thank you very much for your report, Ayumakin. Are there any questions for the VP Finance at this time? Seeing none, we will move on the agenda. Again, thank you very much for your report. Next item on the agenda for this evening is the Senate report. I'll open the floor to Jeremy.
Happy New Year, everyone. This is going to be short and sweet. There was no Senate meeting over the period of our last student union meeting, so there's no report from the Senate to be provided. Hopefully there are no questions.
Great, thank you very much for that report, Jeremy. We'll now move to the next item on the agenda for this evening, which is the Board of Governors report. I'm not sure if that is going to the president or the Board of Governors rep.
I will be doing that.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Can I share my screen?
I'm working on that right now.
Oh, sure.
You should be able to share your screen now.
Yes, thank you very much. Yes. So hello, everyone, once again. We had a Board of Governors meeting on the 8th of December 2020. Surprisingly, it lasted for an hour. It was scheduled for 3 hours, but it lasted for 1 hour. So from the office of the UPI president, we spoke about the fall enrollment. He briefed, so 5,143 students, both full-time and part-time students, were the total number of UPI students this fall semester. There was a 4.4% increase compared to the last academic year. UPI ranks the third highest enrollment in the Atlantic region. That's great to see. And the student body is still constantly increasing. International students make up 28.5% of the body. Out of province students is 20.4%, and domestic student, that is student from PEI, is 51.1%. It's great to see how the numbers are increasing constantly. So for the academic year, like we all have taken the extra 1 week break, there was a delay in the resumption of the winter semester to January 11th. So we had the period of January 4th to 10th right now. And so movement of convocation, they moved the convocation to a couple of more days so as to foster a proper planning during the pandemic. So they are working diligently with the Chief Public Health Office to ensure that the convocation would be safe for everyone to attend. The Atlantic Veterinary and Graduate Studies would be having it between the 26th to 28th of May, 2021, alongside other faculties and undergraduate studies. So they are collaborating, just like I said, they are collaborating with the Chief Public Health Office to offer a safe workplace for everyone, a safe graduation event for everyone. So also, like we are aware, the schools is still working with the government and the Chief Public Health Office in providing isolation location for students coming to the island since last spring. So for new students that are just starting this January, and to those new international students that started in fall that are coming back to PEI for classes, the government has sponsored or is providing isolation locations to them. I'm sure most of us saw the news of when they said 600 UPI students will be coming this week. That's very interesting to see. So concerning the infrastructure, we all can see the new residence building going up. Like they said, the North Tower, it's completed in terms of steel and foundation. So they are currently working on decking and installation. The South Tower has begun, and by when we had a meeting, it was proposed that by the end of December, it would be done. And everything is going along in timeline, target, and budget so far. So we are hoping it continue going that way. The Alumni Road has been completed and it has been opened. I hope you guys have had the opportunity to fly on that road lately. It's great for walking and biking. It opened on the 3rd of December of 2020, and it increases the landmass of UPI. You can see how the road leads down from the highway down to the soccer, the field, yes. And also the new Canadian Center for Change and Climate Change and Adaptation is 90% complete. That is in St. Peter's Bay and is 90% complete. Very soon they are going to be doing a ceremony for ribbon cutting also. So for community engagement, the school increased their social media followers. Please follow the school to get more updates on informations and workshops and every activity that will be happening in school. The communication department has put out 30 newsletters from September 19 to November 6 of 2020. I know most of us have seen a couple with our UPI email when they are updating us on a lot of things. And so the media team, they started a spotlight event or a spotlight thing for UPI students this fall semester. So other notes, so testing sites at UPEI and Holland College. It happened on the 12th of December 2020. They accommodated students, professors, and the general public. And like I said, we accommodated 400 plus people at the event. So appreciation went to professors, student union leaders, students, and everyone that has taken their time in making 2020 an awesome year. We definitely went through a lot of challenges, but the school stood beside students and made things really open, and appreciation went to everyone. And I did a couple of updates from the office of the student union and the student union president. So from advocacy, like we've said in council meetings, we spoke to a couple of MLAs, to ministers, to advocate on the policy priorities for 2020 and 2021 semester year. We also gave updates on new initiatives, from laptop donation at the library to the student union, video game co-op, and laptop donation from the government and the PEI community, as Malak has given a feedback on. And we also gave updates on other services at UPEI. And yes, any questions on the Board of Governors meet?
Thank you for your report. Are there any questions on this topic? Seeing none, we will move on. Thank you very much for your report, Tulu.
No worries.
Next item on tonight's agenda is the letter writing campaign. And for that, I will open the floor to the VPACs.
Okay, hi everyone. So this is one of the parts that I'm most excited for this meeting. I want to start off by thanking my committee, AXCOM, for the lovely, very productive meeting that we had. So I'm going to start off by saying that this is a little bit challenging for me because I am not a domestic student, but I'm trying to gather as much information as I can. So if any of you are domestic students, or are domestic students with student loans, or are domestic students who know other students with student loans and can provide me with any information, that would be very helpful. So I'll start off by saying, what's going on. So the VPACs is running a campaign along with AXCOM, my committee. So my vision is having a campaign that's two parts, part advocacy and part educational. The advocacy part is that we are hoping to advocate to the provincial government to expand the moratorium on provincial student loans. So some background info: when COVID hit, both the federal and provincial governments provided a moratorium on student loan payments that ended on September 30th. And right now, the federal government announced that they will have a moratorium on interest for federal student loans that will go from April 2021 to March 2022. But the provincial government hasn't announced anything. So the hope is to get the provincial government to expand the moratorium on provincial student loan payments, hopefully from here till May. That's what we're going to be asking for. How can we do that? How can we pressure the government to help us like that, especially right now where they're putting in the budget for the new year. So that's going to be part of our pre-budget consultation, but that's like my work separate. But what can students do? In 2017, the VPACs ran a letter writing campaign that helped us get the mental health funding that we have now. And what it is we have, what's it called? Letter templates of a letter that you can sign as a student saying, I think that expanding the moratorium on student loans is great and that we should have it, and that as a student, I think we need this. And then what we do is we send out those letters to different MLAs, ministers, and people in government to just prove. It's kind of like a petition, but it's letters. So the more we get, the better our advocacy is. Looking at timelines, I'm hoping to catch the, I have a calendar here, just a second. To get that's the advocacy part of the campaign. So to put out the info about the Google form and the letter writing stuff on the 19th of January, and hopefully end the receival of letters by the 26th, so that we can put out the letters in time before the House sits. The House sits in February. So that would be the advocacy part of the campaign. Now, how can you folks help? Because I need help. If you have any information about student loans, please let me know. If you have any information about someone who has student loans, please let me know. But letter writing campaigns are really hard to do online, and that's the reality of what we're going to be doing this year. In 2017, when they did it, they had booths in person on campus where you can get the student to sign the letter and just like head to class, right? But we're going to run a whole letter writing campaign online. And we've done well with our surveys, but this is different. So I'm going to need you folks to mobilize people. I'm going to need you folks to reach out to people. I'm going to need you folks to be SU representatives and to help me out get more people to sign these letters. We're aiming for 500. I know it's a big number, but aim high. And what we're going to do right now is I consulted with a lot of people who have experience in running campaigns on what's the best way to do this online. And I think that we're doing a Google form. So we're going to have a Google form with the letter template, and where the student chooses which MLA or minister they want to send it to. And I have a whole guide that I created on that, like which MLA, all the MLAs and the ministers, and then which portfolio is relevant to this, et cetera, which, where's their district. And I attached the elections PI, and I have a whole like guide, and I'm going to have the template ready for that Google form and everything ready. So what I want you folks to help me with is share the Google form with as many people as you can. And that's how we got a lot of answers on our surveys, is that I personally reached out to everyone I knew and I was like, please fill this out. So if you can do that with the letter writing campaign, that would tremendously help us. And the second thing is, if you're more keen, is to bring it up in your classes. Email your professor a few days before your class. Can I bring this up in our class? And I'll send you the link to the Google form, and I'll send you all the information you need. And all you need to do is just send your colleagues the link to the Google form if they have student loans, if they know someone who has student loans, if they're willing to sign it. And that's pretty much it on the advocacy side of things. We're gonna have a nice day at the office here where we print them all out and put them in envelopes and go to the post office and send them off. But on the educational side of things, which is where also the questions come in, is we're looking to put up some videos about FAQs about student loans for students, or any helpful tips about student loans. So if you have student loans and you have questions, you can send those questions to me. If you know someone who has questions about student loans, send those to me. If you have experience with student loans and you have like tips and tricks that you need students to know, send those to me. And if you have anyone who you think would be a good guest speaker to ask about student loans, let me know. And that's it. Yeah. If you have any questions, please email me. I do need all the help I can get on this, again, because I don't have experience with student loans. So let me know. Thank you, guys.
Great. We will now move to the next item on our agenda for this evening, which is the review of the winter 2021 calendar of events. So for that, I'll open the floor to the VPSL.
Sorry, guys, just a sec. I'm trying to share screen for Jose. There you go.
Yay! So hopefully by this time next week, I'll have a computer, and also hopefully it won't be a Mac because I don't understand how they work. So basically, the way the semester is looking right now, it's unlike last semester. I'm not gonna put out a full calendar for students because I feel like we tried that last semester. It was great because it gave some concreteness to the whole field of semester. However, I feel it's better if we send it out monthly with our newsletter and with stories and posts and stuff, just so that at the beginning of each month, students get the idea of what's going on for that month, because that way it can actually stay in their minds. January 2021 will be fairly not super packed with things. And there are two reasons for this. First, last semester, we tried mental health and consent campaign during the second and third week of the month of January. Oh, no, not January, September. It wasn't super attended and it was very low key. And I feel it's because at that time, students are still adapting to their classes. They're still kind of settling in, especially this semester, students who travel maybe during isolation. So the first 2 weeks of the semester, we're gonna kind of focus more in using those to plan or to do social media takeovers, but not so much events. However, the thing that I do have planned for January is a clubs and societies week. So I'm still taking the information in from the survey that I sent out to clubs and societies. However, based on that information, I'll probably be sending out an email out tonight or tomorrow about the possibility of having each club and society we currently have. There are 32 societies on campus. I'm going to send an email to see which of them would like to work with me to host an event for students at large. And it will be kind of an event where they can showcase who they are and try to attract students to their clubs. I feel it will be like a more fun and engaging way of doing the clubs fair. So instead of just doing like a meeting on why you should join a club, it's more like them doing an event for you and you being like, oh, wow, those people are really cool. Maybe I should join them. So, however, it says tentatively because that week could only really logistically happen if clubs and societies are eager to do something like this. So if that's not the case, I'll focus more on what's below, which is who is your UPISU events. So basically for the month of January, I want to do a couple events that focus more on letting people around campus know who the counselors are and who the executives are, just because elections are happening in February. And we want to make sure that there are students who are capable, educated, and know everything about our roles and the union and everybody, so that when they run for education rep or they run to be the next BPSL, they have a clear idea of what it is, what's the responsibilities, what we do, and how we work. And also just to make elections more successful in general. And then February will be crazy and packed with a lot of stuff, as it usually is. Remember that we have reading week on the third week of February. So be sure to take a small vacation or a small break then, plus something with your friends, but stay safe and probably on island. Last year, the SU was on, they had some issues where Black History Month did not have a lot of Black History type of events or awareness and stuff. So this year, I want to make sure that that's a priority. So we're going to do a couple events surrounding Black History Month on the 1st and 4th week of the month. And I'm going to be working together with the whole team and also BIPOC Usher and the Black Culture Society to make sure that all of these are inclusive, accessible, good, and informative and everything, or I hope that's the case. And then that's the second week, which is when Valentine's happen, we're gonna have Love and Sex Week. Ooh, exciting. I hope all of you are looking forward to that one. It's usually the most popular campaign / week of events from the UPISU. Everybody loves sex bingo, sex trivia, everything sex related. So I'm gonna be working a lot with Eileen, and who's our SB Pro, and Callie, who's our mental health and wellness officer, to make sure those events are more than just like, let's have fun with sex, and more like consent and be aware of STIs and what are healthy relationships and how can you be a good partner and stuff like that. So I'm super excited for that week, and I hope all of you are too. The big month-long competition that I think we're gonna have for the month of February is gonna be a sustainability challenge type competition. This was an idea that came up between me and the BP Finance. So while art and cooking and then the talent competition are more things where students would need to have a specific skill sets before participating, I feel like the sustainability challenge is more open to everybody because we can all find small ways to be sustainable humans who kind of do good things for the planet. And also just increase awareness and teach people things on how they can be more sustainable. And hopefully they'll get the same type of traction that the other competitions did, and students will learn something on how they can be more sustainable. Then for March, what I have planned is on the second week, we usually have Beach Blast for all of you who are like returning students. Actually, no, all of you who are new students or haven't heard about Beach Blast before. Beach Blast is like this big pub that the BPSL hosts. It's the biggest event that BPSL always puts up every year. It's a 2-day event where one day it's a volleyball tournament and the next day is a beach theme party at the Student Union building. There's a lot of sand. It's crazy. It's always lots of fun. Obviously, because of COVID, we won't be able to have that this year. So similar to what I did for the week of Halloween, I'm going to have a week of summer team events happening. Does it make any sense? No. Will it be kind of jarring? Maybe. I'm gonna make sure it's fun. Absolutely. So that's what I have. It's gonna be called Summer Blast. Then the week after, me and the bar manager want to work on some St. Patty's celebrations because everybody loves St. Patrick's and it's great. Obviously, we're gonna look for ways to make unlink the idea of drinking from St. Patty's, just because we want to make sure that these events are inclusive to everybody. There will be a couple of those, I don't know. And then finally, on the final week of March, we have Geek Week. I'm excited for this. I've been planning on this since I got this role. I cannot wait for it. We're gonna have some Mario Kart tournaments, Smash tournaments, FIFA tournaments. We're gonna have draw your own superhero contest. We're gonna have a cosplay competition. We're gonna give everything to people who are historically haven't been heard or done anything for in the SU. And those are people who like video games and anime and comics and all that people. And I love it and I'm excited. And we'll also have UPI's Got Talent, which is basically a talent show. I think I explained it in the past, similar to iCarly, put a video of you displaying your talent, and it'll be function similarly to the cooking competition and the art competition. I think this will get the most traction from all of them, which is why I left it for the end. But I hope at least, and if any of you want to participate, go for it. I would love to see what you can do. Finally, April is kind of slow and dead just because April is the end of the year and exams, and me and the other executives are kind of transitioning the new team. So we're pretty low key that month. However, I hope that somehow, if COVID is chill and control and hopefully not a thing, but that's not realistic, I'll have an end of the year pub. If not, I'll just have kind of like some events around we survived COVID 20 to 2021 academic year UPI, or a bye-bye COVID type of event week. So that's what's planned for the semester. If any of you have any ideas that kind of would fall under any of those topics, if you want to connect with me to discuss any of the topics because maybe you didn't get what I said or I went through it too quickly, just be sure to message me. Or if you want to see something completely different and you think I'm absolutely off about what I should be doing, also message me. I'm open to ideas, feedback, and anything counselors can tell me. Yay.
Great, thank you very much for that. Are there any questions for Jose on the events for the upcoming semester? Seeing none, we will move to the next point on the agenda for this evening, which is also Jose, which is an ad hoc committee proposal. So Jose, I'll open the floor to you.
Yep. Also, before I change to that, just letting all of you know that similar to what I did with previous reports on council, I'll be letting all of you know about the events coming up before they actually happen, in case you want to do some changes before then and stuff as usual. Malik is just gonna help me real quick to figure out the MacBook Apple magic. Yay! So this is extremely exciting for me. So to give a little bit of context, I won't go over the whole document. It's a lot. It's just basically the BP Student Life traditionally has never had their own committee, which they chair. Throughout the semester or last semester, I noticed that it would be better if the BP Student Life had some sort of more concrete extra supports throughout the semester in terms of people who help set up or help bounce ideas back and forth or help co-host things, because people can only take so much of my face. And I also got inspired by seeing Malak and her committee. I felt like that was a nice way of having a team of counselors kind of get their face around campus and kind of work more closely with us. So I'll just go over it really quickly. The reason why I made a document is in case any of you want to go through it and read it more in depth, or to leave something so that the next BPSL can continue on this idea if it was successful. So basically, it's going to be called the Event Planning and Execution Committee. However, I'm thinking about changing execution to implementation, so it'll be called the EPIC Committee. Oh, that's exciting. Anyways, so to just kind of summarize it, the idea of the group is to create a specialized group of counselors that will work together to make sure that events are inclusive, effective, they reach out more students, etc. It's meant to provide support to the BPSL when they host their own events on campus. It will provide counselors with the opportunity to have hands-on experiences and also to interact with constituents, in other words, your students. It also provides the opportunity to have a mix of different perspectives and backgrounds when you're brainstorming for events to make sure that they are really representative of the diverse community we have here at UPI. And also it provides the BPSL and also whoever else is planning events at the UPSU with a more effective way of using social media, because hopefully if we have a dedicated committee of people who are dedicated to events, we'll be able to cross-share information about these initiatives to different groups on campus because, well, I've been here a long time. I'm in my 4th year. That means that I probably know a variety of people. That also means that I'm disconnected from all the first years, for example, or they don't know me as much as I would like to. So that's like the idea behind communications being more, if you have a committee dedicated for it. That would be the format of a committee is kind of highlighted there, but basically the only important points are that the BP Student Life will be the chair of the committee. There will be 2 non-council members, which will be the Club Societies coordinator and the mental health and wellness officer. The committee will have around a maximum of 9 people, and all the work that those counselors do in the committee to help make sure events are successful and good will potentially be used to they will potentially go toward your counselor compensations, if that makes sense. And I discussed that with Ashley. This will be for this year or this semester specifically, it'll be an open ad hoc committee, which means 2 things. It'll be open for anybody on council to join, mainly because all of you already hold positions in different committees, and I don't want to give more things to people that are already busy enough. So it's open to anybody who has the time or wants to. And it's kind of like a trial run to see if future years this idea is good and should continue to happen. As I mentioned before, the chair of the BP Student Life, the Club Societies and Mental Health and Wellness Officer are there, mainly because those are the 2 other positions from the UPSU who tend to host some sort of events or initiatives where it's kind of like hands-on operations where you need extra people around to make sure that everything is like happening in an event. So that's why they're there. And usually committees have pre-selected counselors. Those are the counselors which I believe hold positions on campus that are ideal for the committee. However, again, it will be open for anybody to join. And that's kind of it. Those are the only points that I really wanted to discuss. And all of you will be going over seeing which of you want to join. I think that's happening right now, Ashley, maybe?
Yeah, so in order to strike this committee, I'll need you to move a motion and it'll have to be passed by council. If you're looking for some wording, I just sent you some in Zoom chat.
Okay. Mhm. Okay. Before I reach Ashley's message, I just want to let you know, I will be really, really, really extremely thankful for anybody who makes remotely some time to help me with this committee. I think it's a great idea. I think I do need the help. And also I feel like it would be great to get you guys' face around campus. So I feel like I would really be appreciative if anybody joins. So I move that we strike an ad hoc committee for the 2021 winter semester for event planning and coordination chaired by the BPSL.
Thank you very much for your motion. Can I get a seconder for that motion, please? Seconded by Jessica. Jose, would you like to speak to that motion?
Sure. I already kind of have like a structure that I would use for anybody who joins this committee. I think it would be really fun. I feel like you will get a lot of experience, and most importantly, you'll get to work with me and just hang out and be like having fun and doing great things for students, which is why we're here.
Great, thank you very much. Is there anyone else who would like to speak to this committee? I see Adam.
Yeah, thank you. I just have a question. Would this committee expire at the end of the semester, or would it continue on into next year with the next BPSL?
As it's been struck as an ad hoc committee, it would expire at the end of this semester, at which point it would be essentially a trial run for the committee. If it was successful, if the VPSL judged that it worked well, it could be implemented as a permanent committee for the UPISU moving forward.
Okay, thank you.
Point of information.
Yes?
On what Ashley said, that's like my goal. I hope it's successful, and then I can, when I'm transitioning the next VPSL, I can be like, this will work great, and it was awesome, and you should have it, so you're supported. So like I really want to do this, and I hope that it's an idea that sticks for future years.
Great. I see the business rep, Sam.
Hi, I was just wondering, is this committee going to replace the Facebook group you created earlier this year looking for volunteers? Or is this going to be like just an add-on? Like if people don't join this committee, is it still going to be available to counselors to like volunteer with these things?
Yep. So the way that I see it, the street team has always been part of the UPISU. It's always been there as an extra platform to gather volunteers at large, not just counselors. The reason why I created this committee specifically is to have some kind of more a structured hands in deck people, a structured team that will have to be there to help me with these initiatives. Because volunteers will always be encouraged, and all counselors will also be encouraged to be part of the street team. However, the committee will be more like a group of people who have volunteered to be part of that and will be kind of part of that throughout the whole semester or year, unlike the street team, which is more like volunteer opportunities pop up there and anybody at large from UPI can help with, if that makes sense.
Okay, thank you.
Are there any other questions for the VPSL on this motion? Seeing none, we will move to a vote. All in favor of approval of an ad hoc committee struck for the winter 2021 semester? All opposed and those who wish to abstain? And that motion has carried. At this time, Jose, would you like to poll counselors to see who would like to join the committee?
Sure. Is there any specific wording I have to use, or it's more just like?
No, we can just open the floor to counselors to use the raise hand function, and any counselor who would like to join the ad hoc committee will be able to do so.
Okay, so I'll ask for that. I'll just review, I guess, expectations or responsibilities really quick. Basically, what I expect from this group of people who joined the event planning organization committee is kind of like, we'll have some meetings to review and discuss events that I'm having. We'll be able to bounce ideas back and forth in terms of how we can better incorporate these ideas, maybe change them for others, maybe add ideas, maybe remove ideas. And then after that, I will kind of be working with all of you to see who will be doing what and how can we distribute this work better. And then the other part of the committee responsibilities would be just helping me out in terms of social media sharing and getting the word out. So those are like the responsibilities of anybody who joins the committee, but it'll be fun. I swear it'll be fun and great. So I would like to just open the floor for any counselors who would like to join the committee. There are no set quorum and there are no mandatory members. So anybody who wants to join, you can raise your hand.
I'm seeing Alexander, the science rep. I'm seeing Jessica Perry, the Senate rep. I'm seeing Akshay Bakar, the Board of Governors rep. I'm seeing Star, the residence rep.
Ooh. And then Ashley?
Yes?
For counselors who were not able to make it today, would I be able to send like an email at large to counselors just to ask them if they would like to join?
Yes, definitely.
Okay. So thank you, Alexander, Star, Akshay, and Jessica. I'll be noting down your names and emails, and then I'll be sending out the emails to see who else on council might want to join, and we'll get this going. It's gonna be really good, I swear. Oh, so excited.
Great, thank you very much. We'll now move to the next item on the agenda for this evening, which is the Mental Health Initiative funding. And for that, I'll open the floor to the VP Finance.
Hi everyone. I'm just going to be going over something I and the mental health and wellness officer discussed regarding a new mental health initiative funding. So basically what this funding is about is to provide students with the opportunity to apply for funding if they have initiatives regarding mental health that could help students. So this funding is similar to the normal clubs and society funding, and it's something that will be reviewed by the VP Finance, the UPI funding community, as well as the mental health and wellness officer. So basically how it works is students have the opportunity to apply for this funding if they have ideas that could help students when it comes to mental health. And this would be reviewed by the funding committee, and the mental health and wellness officer could assist with whatever the initiative is with students. And this was something that we discussed about starting in the winter semester. And I just wanted it to bring it to council to see if people had any questions or ideas regarding how this, how they think this funding should operate. So basically, just if anyone had any ideas or questions regarding this funding.
Okay, are there any questions for the VP Finance on the Mental Health Initiative funding? I'm not seeing any right now. However, if anyone had any ideas on some mental health initiatives that they'd like to see on campus or some thoughts about what this could look like, they could email the VP Finance and let her know. Any follow-up on that, Ayumikin?
Okay, I think since there are no ideas, I can't move this to governance committee. No, I have to do it.
Depends on the intent. So the UPEI Mental Health Initiative funding already exists.
No, no sense.
Okay, I'll have to review that. There was a UPEISU Mental Health Initiative Fund as recently as 2018, so I'm not sure what happened to it. I'll just go ahead and take a look into that and let you know, and we can deal with that at a future meeting.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, that moves us to the next item on the agenda for this evening, which is executive evaluations feedback. As executive evaluations are completed in camera, we will be moving in camera for the feedback on those. So if I could have a motion to move in camera. I see the first year representative, Adam.
Thank you, Chair. I move that the meeting now goes in camera.
Thank you very much for your motion. Can I get a seconder for that motion, please? Seconded by Akini, the business rep. Adam, would you like to speak to that motion?
No, thank you, Chair.
Would anyone like to speak to that motion? Seeing no one, we will move to a vote. All in favor, all opposed, those who wish to abstain. That motion has carried. I am now going to pause the recording and ask anyone who is not a voting member of council to leave the space. So we have just moved out of camera. It was moved by the first year representative and seconded by Business Rep Akini. I've just sent an email to the cadre reporter to see if they wish to rejoin this meeting, and we will move on with our agenda. The next item on the agenda for this evening is society ratifications. Jose, are there any new societies for this evening?
No, there are no, at least there are no club societies which have finished their documentation to be ratified. So no.
Great, thank you very much. The next item on the agenda is the new business section of the meeting. I'm going to open the new business section of tonight's meeting with a bit of information about the upcoming election, and I will be asking council for approval for the dates that have been selected. So these dates have been selected in consultation with the general manager, the executive, and myself. What we are currently looking at for the spring election is the nomination period opening February 1st and continuing to February 12th, then having the campaign period opening on February 13th and going until March 8th. That seems like a fairly long section. However, I will note that the February break is, I have someone joining, is 1 week in there. So it is an extended campaign period. That would leave voting to be happening on March 9th and the 10th, which would allow council to approve the election results or review the election results on March 14th. So at this time, I would be seeking a motion to approve the presented council dates for the winter 2021 election. I see Akini.
Thank you, Chair. I can move the motion to accept the proposed election dates. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much for your motion. Can I get a seconder for that motion, please? Seconded by the business rep, Sam. Akini, would you speak to that motion?
No, thank you.
Thank you. Would anyone like to speak to that motion? Seeing no one, we will move to a vote. All in favor of the winter election result dates as presented? That motion has carried. Therefore, I will just repeat the dates for information. The UPEISU spring election will be held with a nomination period starting on February 1st, going to the 12th. The campaign period will begin on February 13th and go until March 8th. Voting for the election will happen on March 9th and the 10th. And then the official election results will go to council for review at the March 14th council meeting. The only other thing I have tonight for new business is just some information. We are currently hiring our CRO for the election, so Chief Returning Officer, and the deadline to apply for that is January 15th, 2021. Councillors would not be eligible to apply for that. However, if you have anyone who is interested in election procedures or be interested in becoming involved with the UPEISU, this is a great opportunity to do so. Now that I've made all of my new business announcements, are there any, the floor is open to any other new business. One final call for any additional new business. Seeing none, we will move to the last item on the agenda for this evening, which is adjournment. At this time, I'm happy to take a motion for adjournment. I see Malik.
Yep, I'd like to raise a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Thank you very much for your motion. Can I get a seconder for that motion, please? Seconded by Akini, the business rep. Malik, would you like to speak to that motion?
Thank you for your time, everyone, and have a great evening.
Great. Is there anyone else who would like to speak to that motion? Seeing no one, we will move to a vote. All in favor, all opposed, those who wish to abstain on adjournment of this meeting. That motion has carried. I am happy to announce that this meeting has ended at 7:52 p.m. So we are officially adjourned. I wish everyone an excellent first week of classes for this semester and wish everyone a happy, healthy 2021.
You too, Ashley.